Here in the UK, whenever you want to exploit the capabilities of your car, you always seem to get stuck behind another vehicle going about half the speed limit. Now there's about 3 makes and models that come to mind with what you're going to get stuck behind, and one of those is the Honda Jazz. When the Jazz first came out, it was designed for and marketed to young people, and then proceeded to be bought exclusively by old people. Honda wanted it to be their new Polo, their new Corsa, and it became anything but. The same cannot be said for what is behind me, the all-new revised Audi A1 that has been received very well by young people since it came out all those years ago. So looking at how muddy and wet it was, I thought I'd leave the Jaguar at home and give you guys a look at the A1 and see how it performs as a daily driver. Now if you are thinking about picking one of these up, you probably will have already seen a handful of videos talking about fake fence. I think it's something we've just got to accept on modern cars, so it's not a line of criticism I'm going to go down. And I think overall the styling on the revised Audi A1 is really nice and stacks up well against its competition. Oh, it's the daily driver, you can't talk about the beat. The Audi A1 has a boot. Can we get on and drive it now, please? Now, as I jump in and the 1 litre engine roars to life, I am greeted by a very crisp, very clearly laid out digital display that they call the Audi Virtual Cockpit. It's got the speed and your rev monitor, but also the driver assist and the radio media inputs in there as well. Now, I don't want to create the illusion that if you are jumping out of like a Fiesta ST or a Polo GTI that this is going to feel quick, but for a 1 litre, when that turbo does get online, you get a little bit of a whirly kind of nice whoosh sound, and the car makes good progress. Now, one advantage that the A1 does have over its rivals is this cockpit. I really like the rugged edges of the dashboard here, and it's not something that a lot of manufacturers are going for. When you tend to take the plans for something like that to the accountant, they tend to go, yeah, we really like that, and then they just smooth off the edges here and make that plastic a little bit cheaper and make that part appeal to a wider audience, because that's their role at the end of the day, and the end product is something that is really not very exciting. But that cannot be said for the interior of the A1. It's really nice, really modern, really fresh feeling, and it's really cool that manufacturers are still prepared to go that way in 2021. My friend Dave's just picked up an RS6 and it is a gorgeous car. That is balls to the wall styling, incredibly aggressive. It's not wanting to impress or appeal to the mass markets. It's purely for those kind of Audi performance enthusiasts, and that's really cool, because if you try to appeal to everybody, you just end up becoming a total non-contender. Now, comfort in the A1 is really nice, and that's going to be what this car is for. Longer journeys, still very capable of pulling around town, turning radius is good, it feels very agile, steering weight is nice, although it might be a little bit lighter to what more kind of performance drivers are used to, but it gives a really nice overall feel to the car. Now, I did joke about the boot earlier, but storage capacity is good, certainly on par with its Polo and Fiesta rival. Now, one thing I really do like and struck me as soon as I jumped in is the manual gearbox in this car. So it's a 6-speed, and you can imagine sat in 6th gear in a 1 litre engine, 70 miles per hour. The fuel economy return is really impressive. The gear shift just feels really purposeful and crisp. Now, there are different versions and editions of the A1, so check what yours comes with if you aren't speccing it from the factory, but this one comes with a really nicely integrated sat-nav system that, for the time I've been using the car, does seem to work really well. Quite user-friendly, ergonomic, kind of makes sense, and you can just, it has that jump-in capability. And I'd say that about the whole car actually. In a lot of modern cars, it can be a little bit overwhelming with the buttons, and you can't quite find the cruise control. You're trying to figure out the sat-nav. I remember Alex had an M4 that we did a review on. Lovely car, but the sat-nav was so illogical. You'd have to pull over, work out how to use it, watch a couple of YouTube videos on how to put in your destination and then get on and go with your journey. But that is not the case for the A1. It's got that jump in and go factor. You can kind of figure out where everything is. They haven't overcomplicated it, and you can crack on with your journey. Now the brakes I can't comment about because obviously this is a new car with 500 miles on it and they are still bedding in basically. It's got that kind of real sharpness to them that just fades off as they're worn in. But they do have a nice positive feel to them and I've got every confidence that they will perform well in the long run. Now I've got no complaints about stirring the pot as it were, but I do find when you turn into a side road, dropping down into second gear, there's very little kind of under 1,500 RPM, so you do feel kind of like a little bit of a dead spot and you have to put your foot down a little bit more and then you start going and then you come off again. So overall the kind of driving dynamics are really nice. It's really smooth, but there's just a little bit of a flat spot low down, which is to be expected obviously with a turboed car. The centre console and the dash are fairly minimalistic, which I think is a direction that a lot of manufacturers are going now. Again, it's very clean and crisp. The switches in this are definitely an upgrade to the Polo. They're slightly more kind of modern looking. They've got kind of a metal looking finish to the paint. They are plastic, but I watch a lot of YouTube videos and obviously I admire and aspire to be like a lot of the kind of bigger automotive journalists, but I'm wondering how many videos can we watch where they are sat in the baseline model of a budget car and kind of keep hitting the plastic and going, well, this is cheap and that's cheap. If you're not in the S line or the RS, then I don't think we should kind of expect everything to have that kind of luxury. I wonder if this person's going to let me in or they're going to be awkward. Yes, they are. I don't think we should expect to have everything really high end, because if that's what we demand as consumers, then they'll give us that, but they'll also increase the prices. So if you want to keep your Corsas, Peugeot 208, which might be a really nice rival to this, Polos, etc., if you want to keep those kind of attainable and cheap, then you've got to actually think about what you can expect for that kind of 18 to 20,000 pound price bracket. Overall, it's very nice in here. You can stream music via Bluetooth and it's also got Android Auto, so if you haven't got a sat nav, you can connect your phone and have Waze or Google Maps up on the screen. Rain sensors for the wipers, stop-start technology, automatic LED headlights and automatic folding mirrors are nice features on this car. It's also got driver assist. Now that's comprised of two parts. Firstly, it'll let you know when you are too close to the car in front of you and it will suggest that you leave a safer braking distance. And secondly, it's got a lane assist which detects inadvertent lane changes if you aren't indicating, and will actually provide some feedback, some resistance through the steering wheel to try and prevent that and prevent an accident. They all come with a really nice 8.8-inch sat-nav and infotainment system. Really nice colours, really nice contrast that you can see in all lights, and it integrates really nicely into the dash. Right then folks, I am going to end the video there. Thank you very much for joining me for what is probably going to be the least exciting video that this channel ever hosts. Certainly the most underwhelming in terms of performance that I've had on the channel. However, I thought I'd give you something to watch during lockdown. Some of my audience is in the market for vehicles like this and it might give you something to think about. Huge thanks to everyone that has subscribed. Loving the comments on the videos. Always something to make me think or make me laugh, so thank you very much for that, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.